So I am back home, but I am still basking in the magnitude, the epicness of that Champions Cup final. So I thought I'd hop on and just break it down a little bit more than I was able to. I mean, understandably, because it was immediately following the final whistle and I was surrounded by thousands of fans. Quite hard to kind of do a detailed analysis of the final. Hopefully I can go into a bit more depth on this one. Thank you as ever for your support. I really appreciate it. I'm Tim. This is Egg Chasers. And maybe this will be the video I earn your subscription. Tell you what does help, and it's not hard to sell our sport and to sell how good club rugby is with games like this at the Tottenham Stadium in London between Leinster and Toulouse. But it really helps. If you give the video a thumbs up, that boosts the algorithm. Drop a comment down below, and that helps me reach other fans that we can tell how good our sport is. And wasn't it just the setting, the weather, the two teams, the two most successful sides in club rugby history? I would argue the two best club teams on planet Earth, going toe-to-toe like heavyweight prize fighters, taking it all the way to extra time. Couldn't be separated after 80 minutes, but it was Toulouse that came out on top, and the celebrations will still be raging, I'm absolutely sure. Fantastic shots from Toulouse, from the city centre there. And it's one of the few cities on Earth, in fact, I think in the Northern Hemisphere, it's the only city, over, say, 1 million population, where rugby is the #1 sport. It's quite something. So their fans are wild. They'll be going wild. I haven't seen any ski masks yet in the photos from the Toulouse players like there was back in 2021. Ski masks I absolutely love. But we did, however, this time get Blair Kinghorn doing rodeo on a zebra. So, you know, you thought you'd seen it all, and then that happens. As for Leinster, and I do want to focus on this video a little bit on breaking things down from a Leinster perspective. Where did this one get away and what lessons can be learned? A painful third defeat in a row in a final, of course. I mean, there are some narratives knocking around today. I saw this one in the Telegraph and it described it as Leinster fluffing their lines again. And I don't know, rugby does this quite a lot. Rugby quite often has a habit of having its glass half empty. There is so much in this game to celebrate. What an amazing occasion. How incredible is Antoine Dupont? But no, some of the newspapers going for the kind of negative angle. Would you describe Leinster as fluffing their lines? In the comments down below, what do you think? Let's talk about Leinster because, I mean, to be honest, they could, arguably should, have won this game. And had Leinster won in normal time, had Kieran Frawley knocked over that drop goal with 30 seconds left in normal time, had that gone over, then I think the reaction to the match would have been amazing final, two great teams, Leinster won in the end and deserved to, because you look at all the metrics, they had the stats, they had things in their favour. Territory, 60% Leinster. Possession, 60% Leinster. The metres made, basically 60% Leinster. It was 600 metres that they made and just under 400 that Toulouse made. More defenders beaten. The scrum was fantastic and won penalties at crucial times. At the breakdown, they managed to keep Antoine Dupont very quiet. They seemed to be managing to get to him at the breakdown. And I mean, it says a lot about Antoine Dupont that he had the game that he did. And I'm also saying Leinster patrolled him quite well around the base of the ruck. I'll talk about him more, obviously, in a bit. With crossfield and territorial kicks, worked quite well. They made Toulouse cough up territory and possession quite a lot by kicking to compete, and it worked really well. So much went in Leinster's favour that, as I say, the scoreboard and well, no, there's two factors that really, two stats that you look at that didn't go Leinster's favour. Obviously, the scoreboard is the main one. And the second one, which probably led to the scoreboard, was the penalty count and turnovers. 13 turnovers for Toulouse to 7 for Leinster. And really, it came down to the Battle of the Boot. In fact, when I did a video before the game, I tried going live for the very first time. I'll be doing more of that, no question, because it was quite good fun and it worked out all right. Have a little look at the video from yesterday. I was out amongst the fans and a couple of Leinster fans did rightly say, and those Leinster fans, they know their rugby. I can tell you that, they really know their rugby. He said it's going to come down to the Battle of the Boot, and it did. And Toulouse had that one in the end. As for the issues for Leinster, let's just have a little think about this. What will Leo Cullen and Jack Nienaber be thinking today? because I'll offer a few thoughts here. Some more obvious than others, perhaps. But tell me in the comments down below what you think. Hindsight is always 20/20, isn't it? So it's easy to say things like this. But selection, firstly. What did you think of selection in hindsight? I thought Leinster's bench was gonna make the difference for them, with Josh van der Fleer, Jack Conan, James Ryan coming off the bench, and they did come on and throw their weight around a little bit. But actually, I know, talking about throwing the weight around, the amount that Josh van der Fleer, that's Ross Byrne, the amount that Josh van der Fleer threw his weight around suggests to me that there's an argument that he should have been starting. It's so easy to say that after the fact, and Will Connors, when he has played, has been brilliant, and particularly against those big Toulouse forwards, you can imagine the plan was just get him to go and tackle them, stop them at the gain line, then bring Josh van der Fleer on. So we'll never know what would have happened, but the carries that Josh van der Fleer, the momentum and the leg drive that he was showing, he gave Leinster an impetus that and a kind of, their attack was just a bit blunt, and he provided a little bit of a sharpness at the tip of the spear when he came on. So it's easy to say, but Josh van der Fleer starting, discuss. I've already talked about the battle of the boot, decision making. How much of this comes from the coaches? How much of this comes from the captain? How much of this is before the game, and how much is in the moment? But there seems to be a bit of a thing with Leinster where they don't automatically take kicks at goal in big matches. And we've seen this with Ireland as well. And I admire the bravery, but there is something to be said for 3-6-9-12, keeping the scoreboard ticking over. And there were times, particularly in those early stages, where Leinster were going for it and doubling down and tripling down, and it didn't pay off. And psychologically, as much as anything, how much of a lift does that give the opposition? And we've seen it at club level with Leinster. We see it at national level with Ireland sometimes as well. And I wonder if there's a relationship between the two. And the other thing, and I've already shown you that there's a picture of Ross Byrne there. Let me broaden it out from Ross Byrne firstly. Ross Byrne, for a little bit of that final yesterday, was on one leg, and he had to come off injured in the end. And actually, for all, he looked quite good when he came on. Did they leave Ross Byrne on the field too long? In the same way, just to draw a parallel, in the same way that you could argue, again, hindsight is 20/20, that they left Jack Crowley on the bench and Johnny Sexton on the pitch too long in the World Cup quarter-final against New Zealand. Is there something in the psyche there? I don't know. Maybe I'm putting two and two together and making five, but it's just an interesting parallel to draw on Ross Byrne himself. And I do feel quite cruel saying this because he's doing the very best that he can, but he's not elite as a 10. He is not an elite fly half. His passing just seemed a bit cumbersome, a bit slow. In fact, I would say the whole Leinster backline, to be honest, the number of times you saw players having to catch the ball down near their laces, that it was not crisp. But I wonder how much of that is led. It starts with Ross Byrne. It's just not, it's not elite. I don't think there's a simpler way of putting it. And I wonder, whether Jacques Nienaber and Leo Cullen know that there isn't the X factor in this Leinster team that's required. There are so many fantastic players and so many brilliant elements, but that little final bit of sprinkling of stardust isn't there since Johnny Sexton has gone. And I wonder if they know that with the signings for next season of Geordie Barrett and RG Snyman. Players which, other people have commented on these signings and gone, they don't need them. What's going on? That's just taking the mickey. But I think maybe in that final yesterday, we saw that little bit of X factor that is lacking from Leinster. The small moments felt really big, and Leinster made mistakes, didn't they? There was restart kickouts out on the full. There were crucial lineouts missed. There was that Chocobares interception. And here's three words I don't think I've ever said before, but which happened in this game yesterday at a crucial time. I think it was during extra time. Three words I've never said before. Hugo Keenan mistake. He is faultless and he made a massive error. Brilliant player. But when Antoine Dupont kicked from outside his own 22 and it was going straight into touch and Keenan caught the ball and then put his foot on the line, it went from being it would have been a line out to Leinster just outside Toulouse's 22, and it ended up being a line out to Toulouse in Leinster territory. And from that, they ended up getting, I think it might have been one of their 3-point kicks in extra time. It happened. As for like overall, how do you sort of break down the game? The way that Toulouse managed extra time, having said that Leinster would have been worthy winners in the 80 minutes, Toulouse managed extra time much, much better. When James Lowe was off and Leinster were down to 14 men, Toulouse scored 10 points. When Toulouse were down to 14 men with Richie Arnold's red card, 7 points to 6 is how it ended. On the low yellow, I thought it was a little bit harsh, but I get it. Alexander Roumat in the first minute, a lot of people were saying there's a parallel between that and what happened to James Lowe, but fine, I get it. Same with Arnold's red. Sympathy for him, but fine, whatever, get it. And you have to say as well that the Toulouse try that they did score was absolutely outstanding rugby. Managed to get the ball to the outside. Leinster were a man down. Toulouse switched into mode. Oh, they're a man down. Let's stretch them. Get the ball to the edges. They did. Boom. The skills. Chocobaras. Lebel. Absolutely awesome. A try worthy of winning a Champions Cup. And it was a key moment. But there is so much else as we flip the attention to Toulouse. Brilliant try when they did score. Jack Willis. Yes, I'm biased because I'm an Englishman, but I said it on the video yesterday. I'll say it again. Why would you not want an England player playing in the best team in the world, the best club team in the world? I just don't get it. Cutting off your nose to spite your face. I think the time is done now, and I'm not saying this I've been consistently saying this for a long, long time. I'm not saying it because Jack Willis was incredible yesterday, which he was. How you would not want, how if you're Steve Borthwick, you wouldn't say to the RFU, please, I want players. I want the odd player to be able to go and play at Toulouse, because Jack Willis was brilliant when he arrived at Toulouse. He is so much better now. He has improved by an order of magnitude. And I just think if England relaxed the rules, it wouldn't be a massive exodus of players. But how good could some of these players be if they were exposed to the kind of coaching, teammates, week-to-week development that Jack Willis is? He was immense. And I love the Toulouse Instagram account posting some brilliant pictures of Jack Willis living his best life. He was absolutely amazing. 41 tackles. Please let him play for England. Anyway, Alexander Roumat, mentioned him already, the number 8. I thought he was brilliant as well today. He really came of age for me. Blair Kinghorse, was brilliant. Vindicated the selection above Tom Ramos, who was also good when he came on. But Blair Kinghorne was the two signings for Toulouse from abroad the last couple of years. Kinghorne and Willis have been world class. Antoine Dupont. That's where I want to finish this video. I once went to see a football match. I'm not really a big football fan. And I went to see a Champions League semi-final up the road from where I live at Manchester United against Barcelona. And I watched Lionel Messi. And I came away from that game thinking, I feel privileged to have been in a stadium and watched what is undoubtedly one of the greatest players ever to play in the game. Lionel Messi was just incredible. And I've come away again thinking that about Antoine Dupont. I thought it during the Rugby World Cup. I thought just what an honour to be able to watch that man. I thought it when I watched Toulouse last year. When they lost to Leinster, I was in Dublin for that game. But my goodness me, this guy is one of the greatest rugby players of all time. He is the greatest player on earth right now. And it is an absolute honour to watch a genius, an artist doing their thing. He is just incredible. And I've already mentioned that Leinster did a great job of keeping him quiet. But you can't keep this man down. The 50-22s, the way he had more time on the pitch than any other player. And that's because his brain just works in a way that mere mortals don't. He's a truly, truly special player. And if anything, he's got even better for a little bit of sevens rugby. And there could be a little lesson there. Maybe sevens should go back to being part of the education for some players. But what a man. And it's fitting. And it's like this is the kind of image that people are going to look at in 100 years' time when we're all gone. and they have discussions about the greatest rugby player of all time. And we should not forget that, and we should feel lucky that we get right now, here and now in 2024, we get to sit and watch one of, if not in time, the guy that will be regarded as the GOAT. I'll leave it there. Amazing final. Loved it. Thank you very much for your support on the channel, and I will see you on the next one.